OTAs for the Jaguar offseason. Certainly excited about that with rookie minicamp in the rearview mirror. You know, now that the draft is over and free agency by and large is over, I thought it would be interesting this week to kind of go around the rest of the division. Now, we're going to begin our division previews coming up when I get back from vacation beginning June 1st. And we're going to go division by division, beginning in the AFC East, going all through the AFC and the NFC for the 8 or so weeks leading into Jaguar training camp. And we won't do the AFC South until the very end. So like the end of July, beginning of August. So I thought here in the month of May, it would be interesting to take a look around the division. So we will make stops in Houston and Indianapolis. But tonight, we're going to go to Nashville, and we're going to talk about the Tennessee Titans, kind of how they have had their offseason and what has been a very interesting offseason for the Titans. New head coach, new coordinator. Golly, they signed like 17 free agents, had a really interesting draft as well. So one of our guys when it comes to the Titans is Tyler Rowland. He is the host of the Locked On Titans podcast. He will join us coming up here towards the top of the 9 o'clock hour. Again, Tennessee tonight. Later in the week, we will also go to Houston and Indianapolis. We'll also obviously talk Jaguars, recap rookie minicamp, where the roster is in relation to the rest of the AFC South, and I actually want to begin there in one moment. Travis Holmes of Big Cat Country and the host of the Duval Dive podcast. He will join us coming up here in about 15 minutes as we will talk Jaguars and kind of where things stand from a Jaguar perspective in the AFC South. A couple of things before we really dive in. One sports-related, one non-sports-related. Let me begin with the non-sports-related one first. You know, it takes a lot to fluster me on the roadways. It really does. You know, there are a few things that can kind of get me, but by and large, I'm a pretty relaxed driver. Nothing really bothers me all that much. I like to think that I have a fair amount of patience. I don't know what on planet Earth was going on Phillips Highway earlier today, roughly about 8 o'clock this morning, Eastern Standard Time. But I dropped a little hack off at his school, basically at Greenland Road and Phillips. And Aaron, it took me an hour, man, an hour to get from Greenland and Phillips to Phillips and Emerson, where I had to drop off Heidi's car at a dealership to get looked at.
Ridiculous.
I've lived in Jacksonville for almost 32 years. And I say this as confidently as possible. I've never seen Phillips Highway that bad.
It's like when the rain starts, people just lose their minds. I don't know.
Oh, my gosh. I don't know if something happened on the interstate and they were detouring people onto Phillips. I don't know what it was, but that's how my day started. And I would have to assume that's how some of your days started, particularly if you live in Mandarin or the South Side, because I think everybody that lives on the south side of Jacksonville was on Phillips Highway this morning. It was absolutely incredible. But, boy, I know we needed the rain, and I'm happy for the rain, and I'm grateful for the rain. My goodness, can you spread it out over a couple of days? It has been just a whitewash of rain, at least where I live over there in Mandarin. But I'm not complaining because we certainly need it. Obviously, the fire issue and all that, this will help. The drought issue, but it doesn't help the driving issue very much. And then that Phillips Highway this morning, good grief, man. That was awful. The sports-related thing, I didn't want to make this the big deal of the night, but I'm going to talk more about it in a little bit. But it makes you think a little bit. Quickly, last night in the NBA playoffs, the LA Lakers got swept by Oklahoma City. No real surprise. But Aaron, as they're walking off the floor last night, I don't think it's the case. I think he'll be back for another year. But did your mind go to the fact that that could possibly be the last time we see LeBron James in the NBA?
A little bit. Dylan Brooks had an interesting, and I'm not the biggest Dylan Brooks fan, but he said the guy still has enough left in the tank. I mean,
he's been phenomenal at the age of 41.
Yeah, he says if anything, he can give you at least one more. He could probably go longer, but he can give one more if he wants to.
I would be hard pressed to believe LeBron's going to want to go out being swept, which is what Oklahoma City did last night. I'll tell you this. I don't know if it's the last time we see LeBron in the NBA. I tend to doubt it. But I do believe that might be the last time we see him with the Los Angeles Lakers.
I can agree with that.
I do think that. I mean, LeBron has, at this point, earned the right to go out on his terms. And whether he wants to go finish it at home in Cleveland, whether he wants to go to the Big Apple, to New York. I saw Kendrick Perkins on ESPN today say LeBron should finish it out with the Knicks if it's going to be his last year. I don't think we've seen the end of LeBron, but I do think we maybe have seen the end of LeBron in a Laker uniform. And when LeBron retires, and this is where my mind kind of went last night, and we got to go quick here. You think about how lucky we have been as sports fans in the last 20, 25 years. I mean, all sports. You got Tiger Woods, arguably the best golfer to ever live. Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, Novak Djokovic, arguably the three best tennis players on the men's side to ever live. Serena Williams, arguably the best women's tennis player that's ever lived. Jimmy Johnson, arguably the best NASCAR driver that's ever lived. And then you bring it into the main sports, the four big ones, right? Sidney Crosby and Alexander Ovechkin in the NHL, or even Connor McDavid right now. Obviously, Tom Brady. Is there ever going to be a quarterback that wins as many rings as Tom Brady has won? You think about LeBron and the greatness that we've witnessed there. You think about in Major League Baseball, and that might be the one that's lacking. I guess I would have to go back to Jeter, which that's been a few years now, certainly, because our generation, obviously, baseball, you go years and years and years back. Baseball might be the one where we didn't have a generational star, but you could argue in almost every other sport we've had that.
Yeah, I'm not a big baseball. Is Ohtani starting to?
Yeah, but I mean, when I think of baseball, though, man, I think of the Babe and Hank Aaron and Barry Bonds and Ken Griffey Jr. and Mickey Mantle. I mean, that's rarefied air. Ohtani's great, but I'm not going to put him in that category. So aside from Major League Baseball, you could argue that we have seen some of the all-time greats in all these other individual sports and team sports. And LeBron is kind of one of the last ones left, right? All the guys and gals I just named, an overwhelming majority of them are retired. Well, Djokovic is still playing, but that's not going to last too much longer. LeBron is still playing. That's not going to last too much longer. Everybody else, Serena, Nadal, Federer, Tiger, Brady, I guess Crosby and Ovechkin are still playing, but they probably got a year or two left max. So we're just kind of winding down what has been a golden era of sports for our age bracket. And we've been very lucky, because some of these athletes that we've seen live and in person, they will be talking about 30, 40, 50 years from now. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Aaron Williams. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No, because it is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
So I don't know this to be 100% true yet, but I see it trending in this direction. We're going to have a lot of guests on Hacker After Dark in the coming weeks and months, previewing the 2026 NFL season. And I've already started this process. I've already talked to a few people. Obviously, there will be many, many more to come over the next 3 months or so, 2.5 months before training camp. But I'm already getting the vibe. I'm already getting the sense that when you ask these people, national analysts, former players, etc., their thoughts on the AFC South coming into 2026, it is going to be overwhelmingly that it's going to be the Houston Texans division. Overwhelmingly. And I say that because of the vibe I'm getting when I'm talking to these folks, what I see on social media, what I hear from analysts, former players, etc. The Jaguars were a division champion last year. 13-4. That's hard to do. The Jaguars have been around for over 3 decades. They've won more than 13 games in a season once, and that was in 1999. So what they did was a pretty historic season in franchise history and only their 5th division title. But I just get the vibe that everyone nationally is going to believe, if they're not a one-hit wonder, which I think some people will think that and say that, but if they don't say one-hit wonder, they don't believe in them repeating as division champions. With as bad as C.J. Stroud was in the postseason last year, and do we remember that? They won that Pittsburgh game in spite of him. And then he was, for the first half of that Patriot game, that was one of the worst starting quarterback performances I've ever seen in the playoffs. And I mean that. When he threw those 4 interceptions, he was awful in that playoff loss. But it's as if that doesn't matter, right? It's as if, C.J. Stroud's going to come back to his rookie form. Okay, why? Because people like C.J. Stroud? I guess. I don't know. If that was Trevor Lawrence that did that last year, if Trevor Lawrence in their playoff loss performed like C.J. Stroud did, can you imagine the questions about him this entire offseason? But no, C.J. Stroud got a pass for a humiliating performance in their loss to New England. Remember that game? Remember how many times the Houston defense strip-sacked Drake May of the football? Will Anderson went bonkers in that game. New England couldn't block him. Danielle Hunter went bonkers in that game. New England couldn't block him either. And none of it mattered. Because every time the Texan defense took the ball from the Patriots, guess what? C.J. Stroud gave the ball right back to the Patriots. It was a comedy of errors in the first half. But I just get the vibe, the sense that Houston is going to be the overwhelming pick. I think people are not high on Indy, at least the ones I've talked to, which I agree with. I think Indy's offseason has been awful. Tennessee, we'll talk more Titans tonight with Tyler Rowland of the Locked On Titans podcast. I think Tennessee's going to be better, but that's relative, right? They won 4 games last year. It's hard to be worse. And they spent a ton of money. From Alontae Taylor in the secondary. They also got Flott, the other corner, the dime corner, nickel corner. So 2 members of the secondary they got big money spent on. John Franklin Myers, who people here in Jacksonville wanted. That was never going to happen. He was always going to go play for Robert Saleh. You trade for Jermaine Johnson. You bring in Wan'Dale Robinson. I mean, the Titans spent a ton of money. So I think they're going to be better. But again, being better for Tennessee is 5-12 or 6-11. That's better. But again, that's not going to get you to the promised land. I don't think Tennessee is going to challenge for the South. I think, if anything, they're going to challenge to not be last place in the South. I think Indianapolis might have to worry about that. But I do feel like it's going to be a conversation between Jacksonville and Houston. But maybe not the majority, but I'm telling you, the overwhelming amount of people that you talk to are going to pick Houston to win the division. And maybe that's a good thing for Jacksonville. Can they be as under the radar as possible for a team coming off a 13-4 campaign? I'll tell you this. National folks think we are drinking the Kool-Aid when it comes to the Jaguar offseason. We all know they hate the Jaguars draft. That's been well documented. They also think Devin Lloyd is going to be the next Dick Butkus. They think ETN is Barry Sanders. They can't believe we let those guys walk. Just listen to what they say. Listen whenever the Jaguars come up in conversation. My point on Jacksonville is this, and this will be something I'm going to say all summer long, so you might get tired of hearing it, so bear with me. I'm not so sure Jacksonville won't have a better team in 2026, but I don't think they're going to have as many wins as they had last year. 13 wins is hard to do in the National Football League. There are not many teams that go back-to-back 13-win seasons. That is rarefied air. And I don't believe the Jaguars are going to go 13-4. The schedule's going to be harder, and I can't stress this enough, and you're going to see this in front of you in print on Thursday night. Guys, they play 17 games. Only 6 of them are in Jacksonville. You know how hard that is? I mean, let's say you go undefeated here in Jacksonville. You win all 6 of your home games. I still think at minimum, to get into the playoffs, at minimum, you're going to need to win 4 games outside of Jacksonville. And that's at a minimum if you go undefeated at home. That's hard. 6 games in Jacksonville, 2 in London, which we'll find out the London games tomorrow. I'm telling you right now, if the Houston game is in London, I'm going to be pissed. And you should be too. Because that's ridiculous. Houston, Jacksonville, if that game, the rumors were this weekend, London, we'll see. If that's really the case, you ought to be very angry about that. Because if you want any game at home in Jacksonville, any game, isn't it Houston? A team that you're going to have to beat to win the division? If they send that game to London, that's going to be very, very disappointing. We'll find out, I believe, tomorrow. And if that game is sent to London, I'm going to have many more thoughts on that tomorrow night on Hacker After Dark. 6 games in Jacksonville, 2 in London, 9 true road games in opposing stadiums. That's going to be hard to navigate. That's why I said, I'm not so sure this won't be a better all-around team in 2026, but I don't expect them to have 13 wins in 2026. I mean, just do the math. Let me do my Wolfson High School math. To equal what they did last year, they'd have to go undefeated at home and win 7 games outside of Jacksonville. Are you kidding? Who expects them to do that? Who realistically expects them to do that? So they've been dealt a hand. The stadium being built, awesome, and in 2028, it is going to be amazing. But until we get to 2028, the bottom line is, for the next 2 years, you play 6 home games in Jacksonville. And they all come in 2026, and not one is played in 2027. So it's going to be a tough putt. The Jaguars are playing where other teams might have some mulligans. The Jaguars have very, very little room for error. And again, I like the makeup of the roster. I really like the coaching staff and the GM. I am excited about 2026. But I also realize having to play 17 games, of which only 6 are in your stadium, and by the way, limited capacity at that, that is real. That is a hindrance to what Jacksonville is hoping to accomplish. They're going to need to play that much better to overcome that. Schedule comes out on Thursday. Again, we find out the international games tomorrow. And we'll talk a little AFC South. Jaguar related. We'll also go to Nashville later on tonight. Again, Tyler Rowland of the Locked On Titans podcast to give his thoughts on what has been a wild offseason for the Jaguars' arch rival, the Tennessee Titans. But first, let's talk Jaguars. We are, of course, the home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. My buddy Travis Holmes of Big Cat Country. You also see him as host of the Duval Dive podcast. Let's review rookie minicamp. Let's talk about the overall roster. Let's talk a little bit about the AFC South from a Jaguar point of view. And let's talk about where this team is, as we are now just 2 weeks out from organized team activities, also known as OTAs. Travis Holmes, Big Cat Country, and the Duval Dive podcast next on a Tuesday night in Northeast Florida. We're glad you're with us. It's Hacker After Dark.
These men are consummate snowball artists.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
And they call these bozos
The Drill.
You don't know what it's like out there. I've worked in the private sector. They expect results.
Mornings on 1010XL.
Enough, I get the point.
I'm local attorney Rick Alexander. In my 30 years practicing law, I've learned you never want to choose money over health. It's always a bad deal. Unfortunately, when someone screws up and you get hurt, that choice is gone. Your only choice is whether you face the future with a lawyer or without one. If you're hurt because somebody screwed up, call me at the practice. The Alexander Law Practice, 904-400-6600, or alexanderlawpractice.com, Jacksonville.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
I want total control of my team.
The off-season is the time to check under the hood and add replacement parts.
I want to be able to recruit anybody that I want. No interference.
Follow the road to the regular season with AA Automotive and 1010XL.
Hey gang, Prosser here for my friends Chad and Sandy. What are your concerns? What struggles do you anticipate when it comes time to sell your home? What is it that bothers you? What's keeping you from getting max money as quickly as possible? Well, I don't know what those reasons are because I know they're all silly. Because Chad and Sandy have one down to the line guarantee. Your home sold guaranteed, or they will buy it. It'll be at a price and a rate that you agree upon beforehand. So if you need to sell now, fast, easy, stress-free, and you need max price, then you need Chad and Sandy. The government's making moves intended to push mortgage rates lower. The last time rates dropped, we saw a selling and buying frenzy. Now's the time to prepare. It's time to call Chad and Sandy. Darcy in San Jose did. I wanted to move to a more walkable, vibrant area. Within 3 days of working with Chad and Sandy's team, I found the perfect home. They do it stress-free with a guarantee. Go to chadandsandy.com or call 414-6200. That's chadandsandy.com.
Memorial Day, friends, family, great food is what we look forward to all year. But when your septic system decides it wants to be part of the conversation, yeah, nobody wants that. Getting a pump out now is a smart move before things get, let's just say, uncomfortable. Duck Rooter, Northeast Florida's only master septic contractor. They've seen it all, and they get it right the first time. Right now, get $50 off septic tank pumping. Keep the memories, not the mess. When you're stuck, call the Duck, 904-862-6769 or duckrooter.com.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Checkmate. I'm Brendan Cecilia from Checkmate Coatings.
And I'm Chester, his adorable chessman sidekick.
There are two things you want to ask when getting a custom polymer garage floor coating. Will it be done right, and will it be priced right?
And just how charming is their mascot?
No. At Checkmate, our small specialized install teams follow a strict 29-point installation checklist
to ensure the highest quality results at a price you can afford.
A Checkmate polyaspartic floor can be customized in dozens of colors and sweeps up sparkling clean in just seconds.
No need to wear your shoes in the garage to avoid tracking dirt back into the house.
The quality you expect?
Check. A price that might surprise you.
Check. A floor you just can't wait to show your friends? Checkmate!
Transforming your floors, making them great. Checkmate.
Visit checkmatecoatings.com. That's checkmatecoatings.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. Jaguar rookie minicamp in the rearview mirror. All eyes begin pointing now towards OTAs in a couple of weeks that the media will be able to start viewing. First one of those is in the latter stages of May. We are about a month away from veteran minicamp. And then training camp, about 2.5 months away, and we will kick this whole thing off again in 2026. Let's talk about the rookie class, rookie minicamp. Let's look at the overall Jaguar roster as well with my buddy Travis Holmes. You read his work at Big Cat Country. You also see him as a host on the Duval Dive podcast. And Travis is always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Travis, how you doing?
I mean, it was a good weekend, so I think I'm doing really well. I didn't get too much rain on Saturday, and I got to see a little bit of quote-unquote football, so I'm doing great.
Travis, I haven't spoke to you since the draft, and obviously you're a draft guy. I know all the mock drafts you do and the dialogue you have with Jaguar fans leading up to the draft, and then the draft happens, and you see all the discourse nationally about what the Jaguars did, or in some instances did not do. What do you make of the ripple, I guess, that James Gladstone made in the NFL draft media world?
I think it was a fun time, for sure. I mean, it was a frustrating time to have all the consensus board conversations, but it also teaches a lot of the people, in the fan base and also even around the NFL media a lot about how NFL front offices truly work. So now you start getting a lot more of those intricate details of the San Francisco 49ers front office, because now you have a lot of general managers, frankly, on, I don't want to say PR mode, but absolutely, damage control mode, because this is still a business and you're still influencing people to spend their hard-earned money to buy tickets. So you want to make sure that they are trusting in the organization, not just with the wins and W's, but also in how everything looks from the back end. So yeah, I think it's been really interesting watching them sway away from the consensus board. But honestly, from me personally, with how much I look at how the Rams operate, it wasn't a surprise. I was still shocked to see the names. I'm going to be honest about that piece, just because I had my personal favorites in the draft based on my film review, which is a small percentage of how much tape these guys watch. I'll never pretend I am to the level of these scouts and these general managers and such. But I will say, I still was shocked at some of the names, especially how, quickly Nate Brokature came off the board as far as the early selection. But saying all of that, once you turn on the tape of a lot of these guys, you generally feel pretty good about the selections that they made. And I don't know if that's me with my teal glasses on, or if that's truly just, hey, I like these guys, but I don't love the evaluation piece of that. Like, I'll be honest and say I don't know exactly where I land on that, even deciphering my own feelings and my own biases. But I will say it's been a really interesting time, because this is how the Rams draft. And everyone wanted a Rams general manager and a Rams head coach. Well, you got it. So let's see what happens as far as the wins and W's. But for the most part, this is what you hired. This is what you wanted. Congratulations. Let's see what happens.
Travis Holmes, Big Cat Country, and the Duval Dive podcast. They hit all the positions I thought they would, from offensive line, wide receiver, tight end, interior D-line. Maybe I was a little surprised they didn't take a linebacker till round 7, but they got all the positions I thought they would. Certainly, like you said, the names were not the names that I had in mind going into the draft. So let's begin with Nate Brokature. You got to look at him on Saturday briefly, but even more so than that, just your overall thoughts on his selection.
I thought, if you're talking about wanting to kind of shore up the edges of this offensive line and also stop using the 6 offensive line sets as frequently as they did between Chuma Edoga, between Wyatt Milam, and at the end of last season, then this selection makes total sense. And you already knew the Jaguars were in need of a second tight end, third tight end option, potentially, just with how often they did use those 3 tight end sets as basically a split out a split out tight end. The big Denver Broncos play to Brenton Strange down the field when he runs up through the middle and catches it basically on a corner route. That's with Wyatt Milam lined up at a split out tight end with a 5-yard split. If you look back at that play, that happens frequently throughout the 2025 seasons. So, Coach Cohen, he discussed it after practice on Saturday, basically saying, yeah, now we don't have to use those guys in those positions. Like, thank you for their contributions, but now you have a legitimate pass catcher who can run routes and give you a little bit more threat on both ends of the football field, both in run blocking and actually being a contributor in the passing game. So I understand that piece of it. And it, again, allows you a lot deeper of a room, a lot better packages as far as this NFL picture with a lot of NFL teams going with those 2 and 3 tight end sets. I get it. And I thought he looked very good catching the ball on Saturday. And I know that's not saying anything, man. I'm here for it. It's the underwear Olympics. I'm never going to go too high on what happens with guys just running outside playing pickup football, basically. But when the national media goes as crazy as they went talking about the fact that he was quote unquote overdrafted and that he's a quote unquote blocking only tight end because his quarterback wasn't very good in college, well, then I think it's probably noteworthy to say, hey, man, the guy looked smooth. He caught the ball with his hands. He had no drops. He had a clean day. I think it's a notable event from Saturday. So that's kind of where I'm landing.
Outside of Borkature, Travis, whether it's Tanner Koziel, Josh Cameron, who I know is limited with that ankle, C.J. Williams. We'll get to the big uglies in a moment, but the other skill position guys, did anybody stand out to you?
Oh, it was easily C.J. Williams. I mean, and that wasn't even a conversation. Like, I obviously you come out and you expect it to be the earlier drafted wide receiver with Josh Cameron, but again, yeah, he's on the side at that point. And again, that was previously mentioned by Gladstone earlier this offseason. But then C.J. Williams, he looks smooth. Like I said it in my post-game wrap-up over on the Duval Dive. It was one of the first things I had on my note sheet and underlined. He looks smooth coming in and out of his routes. He's breaking on balls, like just again, like in a box. He's very hard to touch. You can just see that as a former defensive back, like I am. You're looking at those small things. He's not really giving any tells. He looks like a veteran NFL receiver in his second day of practice, basically out there. I'm like, oh, that's a good omen for what's to come. I'm wondering what Josh Cameron's going to look like, because I figure those two guys, C.J. Williams and Josh Cameron, may be possibly fighting for one roster spot. So yeah, that's going to be a little bit more one of those little check boxes. It doesn't mean you're going to gain a roster spot on this one day of practice, because you know how this is. You're not going to win the roster spot in rookie minicamp, but you sure as heck can lose one. And I think C.J. Williams, well, he definitely didn't do that. He made a notable event of it for himself. So that's kind of where I am.
Couple of more for Travis Holmes. Big Cat Country is also the host of the Duval Dive podcast. As far as the defensive line, Albert Regis, the 3rd-round pick, Wesley Williams, who the Jaguars traded up for in round 4, and then Zach Durfee out of Washington, a guy that I know some people were very intrigued by. He was Project X on ESPN.com. Durfee, Williams, Regis, your thoughts on those 3?
Yeah, well, as far as the picks are concerned, again, I was kind of shocked. Just if you're talking within the draft, I was shocked that they didn't bring in someone who was a bigger pass rushing threat. Like, again, Regis was one of those ones where you can see the traits. It was absolutely a traits pick in which, all right, they know he's balanced on both sides. He can stop the run, but also he gives you a little bit of a threat as far as a penetrating nose tackle. And you see that, all right, maybe I can use him in that way, especially if I wanted to use this Jaguars defensive line closer to that Georgia Bulldogs D-line, whereas it's kind of guys not necessarily trying to overrun the quarterback. Make sure if I'm only rushing 4, I'm just playing discipline, but also pressuring them into my edges. Okay, I can understand that if that's the philosophy, if that's the vision. So from that perspective, all right, cool. You can sell me on that, and we'll see kind of how you use these guys and how you develop them. Fine. But as far as Saturday is concerned, I didn't get a chance to see much from the defensive line front. They were on the opposite field, again, far away from the media. So for the most part, and you're still not wearing pads. So you're not getting much from the rookie camp as far as that piece is concerned. And again, with Wesley Williams, it's another situation where you have a guy who's, again, pretty good stopping the run. reasonably fine as far as as a pass rusher is concerned. I mean, I think there still were a few better if you're talking specifically designated pass rusher options that were available there. But I think because of Anthony Campanelli and the way that he wants to run his defense, he seems to just favor and want more guys who are balanced. He doesn't want a deficiency on the field where you can run the ball against these guys in third and long on draws or whatever it may be. So if that's his philosophy, I get why Wesley Williams was the guy, and Zach Durfee, Prospect X, is getting all the attention because he's gotten all the raves from that ESPN series, whether it's Bill Belichick, Jed Fish, or goodness, it was Tony Fasciano. Like, everyone's basically raving about his ability. So he has some really big, I guess, compliments, we'll say, to kind of show up and shine to do. So hopefully he stays healthy and he's able to kind of put that on tape. And we'll see if the Jaguars found that diamond in the rough in that 7th round pick.
One of the things they did not do is they did not take a linebacker until round 7. So does that mean that Ventrell Miller is the Devin Lloyd replacement, at least right now?
I mean, I think it pretty much has to be. And we knew they felt good about Ventrell just based on how they've been talking about him. But also, coach speak is a thing. I don't want to pretend that that's not the case. As passionate and as highly thought of, spoken of as Ventrell Miller has been this offseason, they've equally sounded extremely high on Branson Combs being the backup for Foye Oluokun. So because of that, I'm like, well, is that real? How much of this is material versus how much of this is what they have to say? Well, their actions told me more than their words that they absolutely believe in him, and that worst case scenario, they believe in their system and their ability to develop the guys behind him. If you're looking at maybe Jack Kaiser, behind Ventrell Miller. So overall, it's Ventrell's role, or at least he has the runway to grab that role early on. And maybe they don't feel that they're giving it to him. Maybe they feel like Ventrell and Jack Kaiser may be co-starters on week 1. Who knows? It's going to be interesting to find out, though.
Quickly, because I want to end with the overall roster, but you mentioned, defensive backs is kind of what you look at a lot because of your history. What did you see out of Jalen Husky?
Oh, man. Yeah, he looked smooth. He looked really smooth. And I got into a conversation with one of my guys afterwards because I put out one of the videos of him and just practicing his backpedaling and coming out with a few of the other guys in the class doing their drills before rookie camp. And someone said, hey, man, did you notice he didn't rise up at all coming out of his back pedal? I'm like, yo, no. I noticed that. That's the first thing I noticed. And in my recap is like, oh, no, he looks like a cornerback. He's a safety, sure, in title, but you can absolutely see that cornerback history as far as that's concerned. And that pays dividends in this NFL, new NFL, when you want to play more 3 safety sets, because then you have options where you can maybe put that guy out there and play a lot more man coverage. You can feel comfortable, similar to that Caleb Bransall pick, honestly. It felt very similar to the Bransall pick, just as a rabbit trail, that I thought, okay, he was only picked, 11 picks? I mean, a different draft class, sure, but he's only picked 11 picks from Caleb Bransall. Is Caleb fighting for his role as that third safety? Maybe even fighting for a potential starting safety opportunity, in that Eric Murray spot? I don't know, but I thought he looked good for his first day. He didn't look like he didn't belong. And I'm just curious of what Caleb Bransall is going to show up, because we've never seen them truly on the grass as far as that's concerned. But Husky looked good.
Travis Holmes, Big Cat Country, and the Duval Dive podcast. Travis, final question. 4 months ago, they walked off the field losing to Buffalo in the playoffs. It's hard to say the roster's better because Devin Lloyd is no longer here. Travis Etienne is no longer here. But do you feel good about the overall roster heading into the summer months here in Jacksonville?
I feel reasonably solid. And I think however you felt about the coaching staff, you were probably going to feel about this roster. And it's not to say that they have to go hand in hand. You can absolutely be high on Liam Cohen and high on Anthony Campanelli and Heath Farwell and still be questionable on James Gladstone. That's a reasonable landing point. But actually on the Duval Dive, we made the argument that the Jaguars roster was legitimately worse on Friday's podcast. And on Monday, we made the argument that they're absolutely better in multiple ways. So the arguments exist on both sides of this because this is a team sport. But I think you should feel reasonably comfortable with this roster because you feel reasonably comfortable in one, the quarterback, two, the coach, and you believe in the system and the fact that you have to think that the coach's thumb is on the scale in the conversation and in the communion with Tony Vaselli, with James Gladstone and all these guys. So that if they're getting these guys, your Nate Brookachers, your Albert Regis, your Emmanuel Pregnon, it's because these coaches want these guys. This isn't the Trent Baalke situation where you're just grabbing all these guys, but they're not necessarily, either the type or the scheme or whatever that the coaching staff maybe doesn't want or know how to use. This is the guys they say they want with the traits that they claim they want. So hopefully they have a plan and an understanding of how they're going to use them. Cool. I'm willing to give them the space and figure it out. But because of that, I'm okay with it because I trust in the main pieces, the quarterbacks, the coordinators, and all.
Travis, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville, Big Cat Country, also the Duval Dive podcast, where they can find your work.
Oh, absolutely. With BigCatCountry.com. Definitely, you can get all of your coverage from the pressers or any takeaways as far as any takeaways from any of the press conferences and practices, because we're actually certified, credentialed media on the ground covering all of your actions. Jaguars.gov, from Jaguars to the preseason and the regular season, but also more importantly, we're talking to fans and understanding what the fans are talking about and reacting to some of that. Same thing on the Duval Dive podcast with myself and Kyle, the student of the game, Nash. We interview a lot of people surrounding the Jaguars. We're actually talking to Bucky Brooks this week, and just breaking down everything related to the Jaguars and also related to everything that you guys want to talk about. So, keep it locked in, BigCatCountry.com and the Duval Dive podcast. And as always, man, thank you for having me.
Travis Holmes. Travis, I know you're busy, man. Thank you for the time. I'll see you out there at OTAs in a couple of weeks.
Oh, absolutely.
Streaming live from the XL Digital Studios. Polished by Harbor Dental Care, the locally owned smile restoration experts.
This is Jeff Middlecoff with Cogent Bank. My associate Ryan Salem and I joined Cogent Bank because we wanted to revolutionize the mortgage business, just like Cogent Bank has revolutionized the banking business. So Ryan Salem and I are able to leverage the power and stability of Cogent Bank to go out and find our clients the best investors, the best products, and the best rates in the entire country for your particular mortgage loan. Of course, you don't have to be a customer at Cogent Bank to take advantage of our mortgage services to buy or refinance your home. We offer jumbo loans, VA, FHA, conventional and investment loans. At Cogent Bank, we offer mortgages nationwide, so we can help you with a second home or help a family member who lives or is moving to another state. Call Ryan Salem or myself, Jeff Middlecoff, at Cogent Bank today, 904-442-9191, to see how we can help you with any of your mortgage loan needs, whatever or wherever they may be.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, Cogent Bank, NMLS ID 402296, Fine Salem, NMLS ID 1182429, Jeff Middlecoff, NMLS ID 249086.
Budweiser reminds us to drink wiser, like hydrating between beers. It keeps the fun going longer, and it's a commitment to responsibility. Remember, good times are ahead, so no need to overdo it. Know when to say when, and always designate a driver.
The Jacksonville Waves tip-off opening night, May 15th at 7 p.m. in the brand-new Upshot League at 5-Star Veterans Memorial Arena. Experience the excitement of women's professional basketball and be a part of history. Get your tickets now at wavesupshot.com.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental. With light sedation for cleaning, then deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, located in Bartram Park.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances. That's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less.
Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
Tom McManus here for Armstrong Fence Company, a locally owned and operated business on the First Coast for nearly 20 years. Known for reliability, quality craftsmanship, and professional service, Armstrong Fence handles it all, from big projects like stadiums and schools to your very own backyard. They build a wicked strong fence, and they do it right the first time. When you need a fence in Jacksonville, trust Armstrong Fence Company. Yeah, we did the fence.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Hacker, After Dark, on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Glad you're with us till 10 o'clock every night. Hacker After Dark here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Let's keep you updated on the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs going on. In the Western Conference, obviously, Oklahoma City swept the Lakers last night. So Oklahoma City is awaiting the winner of Minnesota and San Antonio. Now, this series is tied 2-2. So Oklahoma City is going to be waiting for about a week because this thing is going at least tonight, and then they would play another game on presumably Thursday, and the series hypothetically could end Thursday. But if it goes 7, then you're talking about Saturday, and they wouldn't even start the Western Conference Finals until early next week. So Oklahoma City is going to be resting for a while.
Next game would be Friday if they for Game 6.
Oh, so they're going to – so, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a long duration for the Thunder. Series tied 2-2, San Antonio, Minnesota. We all remember what happened in Game 4 when Victor Wembanyama threw a Macho Man Randy Savage big elbow smash to the face of Naz Reid, got a flagrant 2 and got ejected. Wemby is playing tonight. No more disciplinary action or no further disciplinary action. They're going to the second quarter right now. San Antonio, a 34-30 lead over the Minnesota Timberwolves. We'll keep you updated. Again, series tied 2-2. So obviously this is a pivotal Game 5. Also Game 4 in the National Hockey League. Montreal and Buffalo. They're tied 2-2. 7 minutes to go in the second. Canadiens lead that series 2-1. It's always around this time of year where we remind you that the last Canadian NHL team to win a Stanley Cup, and this is crazy to think about, was all the way back in 1993. You got to go back to Patrick Waugh and the 1993 Montreal Canadiens to find the last time a team in Canada hoisted Lord Stanley's Cup. So what is that? We're talking 33, 34 years, almost 3.5 decades. We'll see what happens. Montreal is, I believe, the last team in Canada left this year. And they do lead the series 2-1 against Buffalo. And Game 4 tonight is tied 2-2 in the second. Quickly, let me get this off my chest. Mentioned this to Blue on the 2-minute drill. Gator fan, Seminole fan, if you haven't seen this, you have a date and a time now for your football game that's obviously going to be played, final regular season game of the year, in late November. The game is going to be played November the 27th, 3:30 in the afternoon. The only problem with that is November the 27th is Friday. They are playing Florida and Florida State on a Friday at 3:30 in the afternoon at Doak Campbell Stadium. You know, I was born in Tallahassee, Florida. My first Florida State game that I actually went to was 14-9 in 1991 when Shane Matthews was the quarterback of the Gators. Casey Weldon was the quarterback for Florida State. You think about the unbelievable memories of this rivalry. The Warwick Dunn run up the sideline in 93, even though Tamarick Vanover got away with a hideous block in the back on Anthony Lott that wasn't called. You got the choke at Doak in 1994 They finished that at the Sugar Bowl, and Florida State got the victory. You got 1 versus 2 in 96 where Florida State won, and then Florida got lucky, got back into the national title game a month later and beat Florida State 52-20. You think of Doug Johnson to Jaquez Green in 1997. All of these unbelievable memories. Marcus Outson to Peter Warwick in 2000 when Marquand Manuel of the Gators should have had the pick and it went right through his fingertips. I could go on and on and on. 4th and 14, right? Florida State. Chris Ricks just ripping the heart out of the Gators with a assist from referee Jack Childress, if memory serves. Tim Tebow and the war paint in the pouring down rain at Doak Campbell. I mean, it is what college football is all about. It's Florida State. The memories that we all have, whether you're a Gator that bleeds orange and blue or whether you're a Seminole that bleeds garnet and gold, the memories that we all have in this area of that game in late November, and it's on a Friday afternoon this year at 3:30. Look, I understand TV. I understand the thought that maybe they'll get more coverage being on Friday than on Saturday with every other game. You know, Friday at 3:30, Black Friday at 3:30, that's Louisville, Kentucky. That's what that should be. That's Virginia Tech. That's maybe Clemson, South Carolina. That should not be Florida State. It never is played on Black Friday in Gainesville because the Gators won't do that. But the last couple of times it's been played in Tallahassee, it's been on Black Friday. At least some of those times it's been at night, which can be cool. But this is going to be at 3:30 in the afternoon on a Friday.
Not only that, they're probably going to be competing with the NFL game that's also on.
Yeah, but Aaron, that's bigger than this is. This is Florida State. This is the memory, the pageantry, the tradition, the orange and blue, the garnet and gold, and where this rivalry has gone in the eyes of the Atlantic Coast Conference, in the eyes of the TV networks, in the eyes of the college football consumer outside of our state. Where it has gone is Friday afternoon at 3:30. That's an indictment on Florida State and where they are right now. That's an indictment on Florida and where they are right now. There is no way on this planet that Florida State should be on a Friday afternoon. And I truly hope that John Summerall turns things around in Gainesville. I hope that Mike Norvell or whomever Florida State ultimately hires turns things around in Tallahassee. This used to be 1 versus 2. This used to be 3 versus 5. This used to be 5 versus 8. At worst, this was 7 versus 12 for years and years and years and years. And now you got one team coming off of 5 and 7 that hasn't made a bowl game in 2 years, hasn't won a road game in 2 years. You got one team coming off of 4 and 8 that's about to have, I think, their 6th or 7th different head coach in the last 25 seasons. They need to get their act together in both places. Because to relegate, and that's what it is, to relegate Florida State to a Friday afternoon at 3:30 absolutely makes me sick. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We'll take you up till 10 o'clock as we do every night. It's Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
You love sports. You live for the action.
He did it again!
Experience the excitement of the moment on 1010XL.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. Hacker here for the best weight loss program that I've ever been on. Look, the bottom line is I hear about all these other weight loss programs, right? I hear about this injection, this appetite suppressant, this medication that you take. I look back on what I did. Losing 100 pounds with Awaken 180 weight loss. There were no needles. There was no, quote, appetite suppressants. That's all fine and well. What happens when those appetite suppressants go away? They don't tell you about that. With Awaken 180, you get coaching, you get guidance, you get tutelage, you get knowledge. You find out why you gain the weight. More importantly, how to take it off, and even more importantly, how to keep it off. Awaken 180 weight loss. I lost over 100 pounds. You want to be their next success story? Go to awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com, or do what I did and call 844-346-1800.
Did you know there's local savings sitting in your mailbox right now? Money Pages is packed with real coupons from your favorite local businesses. Save money at restaurants like Al's Pizza, on pet care at Forever Vets, and on entertainment for the whole family at the Alhambra Theater. Plus, make sure to download the Money Pages app for savings on the go.
Pages in your mailbox right now. Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Don't miss the Bari Breakdown with Dr. George Bari on XL Primetime, Wednesdays around 1:35 for the latest in sports injuries from all the big names in the game. Who's MIA? Who's coming back? Dr. George Bari on XL Primetime, Wednesdays at 1:35 on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Baloo here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Care you can see.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55 plus plan saved us so much money. A lot. And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da! If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it.
Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of essentials. Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Oak Cliff Speed Test Intelligence Data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
Imagine this. You've got the burgers ready in a backyard full of guests. And folks, that's a strong lineup. But a clogged drain on a holiday? That can change everything in a hurry. Before kickoff, make sure your plumbing is ready to go. Call Duck Duck Rooter. They've got experience, honest pricing, and a team you can count on. And right now, get your main sewer line cleaned, plus a camera inspection for just $129. Outside cleanout is required because the only thing you want overflowing this weekend is that cooler. So when you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Halftime, Hacker After Dark, 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We will take you up till 10 o'clock as we do every night. NFL schedule comes out in less than 48 hours. All the international games will be announced tomorrow. tomorrow morning, as a matter of fact, which will include 2 Jaguar games. I'm telling you, I mean, the rumors are starting to come out. One of the Philadelphia game looks like it's going to be in London. We'll see if that actually is the case, but that's the rumor. Again, rumor, take it for what it is. And Houston. If they lose the Houston game here in Jacksonville, I'd love an explanation for that. Why you would take that game out of here instead of another one is beyond me. I can't imagine the Jaguars would be happy about that if that is what's announced tomorrow. You know how critical that game is going to be. The Texans and the Jaguars, AFC South, clearly the 2 front runners. And if Jacksonville has to play Houston in London as opposed to playing them here, man, that will be very disappointing. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Speaking of the AFC South, we're going to take a tour of the AFC South the remainder of the week. We'll make stops in Houston and Indianapolis. Right now, let's go to Nashville. My buddy Tyler Rowland is the host of the Locked On Titans podcast. Tyler does a terrific job covering the Tennessee Titans, what has been a very, very active and interesting offseason for new head coach Robert Saleh, new offensive coordinator Brian Daboll, and a roster which includes about 18 free agents that the Titans added this offseason. Let's take a look at the Titans offseason and where that kind of puts them in the grand scheme of things in the AFC South. Tyler Rowland, Locked On Titans podcast, next, right here on Hacker After Dark.
A PGA voice.
Joe Coward.
A national writer.
Matt Hayes.
A Jaguars legend.
Leon Searcy.
One table, one big show.
XL Primetime.
Noon to 2 weekdays on 1010XL.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Millard Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Millard Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Millard Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Millard Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Homeowners running out of space in your kitchen, closets bursting at the seams, or maybe your bathroom just feels outdated and cluttered. At Harvest Construction and Remodeling, custom cabinets are what they do best. Owner Scott spent years as the main cabinet installer for one of the region's largest big box retailers. As a family man growing his own business, he brings that experience directly to homeowners like you. They'll create beautiful storage solutions that improve look, feel, and function. Visit harvestrenovations.com.
License number CRC 1331012.
Beetlejuice! Beetlejuice! Beetlejuice!
It's showtime! That's right! The whole world loves Beetlejuice! It's a rowdy, rambunctious, rollicking good time! And a big, fantastical funhouse! We're raising the bar and occasionally the dead! You've never seen anything quite like Beetlejuice! May 12th through the 17th, Jacksonville Center for the Performing Arts. Tickets on sale at fscjartistseries.org.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Pickin' here, or maybe you should call me Dreamfinders Danny. Look what Dreamfinders is doing again, an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down the rate and get in the game. You heard me right, a 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple years ago. Went smooth as silk, was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
Our son Eric's a Division I collegiate baseball pitcher who is having shoulder pain. We took him to Southeast Orthopedic Specialist and are confident that he's now on the road to recovery. This is Beth Anderson, and we love the care Eric receives at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Hey Jacksonville, this is Sullivan from Cycles of Jacks. If you're looking for bikes that are designed with precision engineering and innovative features to ensure every ride is a memorable one, then you need to check out what Honda has right now, Ready to Ride. From touring bikes designed for long distance comfort to compact models perfect for city commutes, each motorcycle promises an exceptional riding experience. See us on Instagram and Facebook at Cycles of Jacks. It's all in our showroom, so come check us out.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. I figured this week, with free agency all but done, the draft all but done, rookie mini camps in the rearview mirror, and OTAs on the horizon, we might look around the rest of the AFC South. We'll make stops in Nashville, in Indianapolis, and in Houston. Tonight, it's all about the Tennessee Titans. Boy, a Titans roster that looks unbelievably different from the roster that was here in Week 18 of the season in January. Let's talk about the Tennessee Titans, their new head coach, their new offensive coordinator, and that new roster. Tyler Rowland of the Locked On Titans podcast, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Tyler, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I mean, I know we still got some months away, but even having OTAs after the draft, the rookie minicamps, all of that, you can smell the football in the air.
You know, you kind of experienced this offseason what we experienced last year. New head coach, new staff, a lot of new players. Obviously, the Travis Hunter excitement coming into last year. Now let's take it to you guys. I think I counted like something ridiculous, like 18 to 20 free agents that the Titans signed. Obviously, they made a lot of news with Carnell Tate in round one. New head coach, new offensive coordinator. I mean, what's this offseason been like for you?
I mean, it has been a whirlwind with all the change. I mean, like you said, you get the coaching change. They spend big in free agency. The Titans were very aggressive in the draft. I mean, they didn't multiply their picks in any way, but they moved back up into the first. They move up into the second as well. So it's just been a lot of momentum. And then, you know, like you said, add on top of that, the new jerseys, the brand change, everything, the new stadium right around the corner. It is a pretty exciting time to be a Tennessee Titans fan, but all that really matters is if they're able to get some wins on the field finally and make this fan base happy.
What was the thought on Robert Saleh and Brian Daboll being brought in?
I think the Titans wanted to kind of correct back to the Mike Vrabel style of coach, right? I mean, Robert Saleh, in my opinion, is a more gifted schematic coach on the defensive side of the ball, but they wanted to go with the leader type, the guy who can galvanize a locker room because, you know, Brian Callahan, I don't think is a terrible football coach or anything like that, but he just didn't have that leader of men personality that I think is more important than maybe it would seem in the NFL. I know it seems kind of antiquated to be, oh, you need a macho man who galvanizes the locker, but there is part of that to the NFL. It's an undeniable aspect, you know, that alpha male mentality. And I think Robert Saleh brings that back. He's got a plan for everything. His direction's very clear. He feels like somebody that these guys could look up to. And I think more important, and Jeffrey Simmons, the Titans' best player, even said this in the locker room at the end of last season, that whoever they hire, they need to be a leader. And I think Robert Saleh does check that box. And Brian Daboll loved Cam Ward in the pre-draft process when they ended up getting Jackson Dart in New York. They were doing everything they could, even to the point where Brian Daboll went up to the Titans general manager at a coffee shop last year during the draft process and tried to convince him to trade out of number one. So I think Brian Daboll has a great plan for Cam Ward, and Daboll is probably a low-level head coach, so having him as an offensive coordinator, he's overqualified, and coming off the Brian Callahan experience, those two guys are exactly what the Titans needed.
Tyler Rowland, host of the Locked On Titans podcast. What is the level of excitement in that fan base for year number 2 for Cam Ward?
I think the excitement's through the roof. I know that the box score doesn't look great. And if you just pulled up the stats, it wouldn't look tremendous for Cam Ward. But I think when you start to contextualize what happened with the coaching that I was just talking about, I mean, Brian Callahan was such a bad head coach, he couldn't even get a coordinator job when he left. He had to go back to being a quarterback coach, demoted even from his job before he got hired as Titans head coach, as the offensive coordinator of the Cincinnati Bengals. So the coaching was just at the absolute bottom of the league. The weapons around Cam Ward were terrible, especially after Calvin Ridley got hurt early in the year. And Cam still, if you turn on the film and you actually watch the throws that he made and the pressure he escaped from, he led the NFL last year in sacks avoided at 7.9% of the pressures that came his way. He was able to avoid. So he did some special things, even though the numbers don't look good. And I think with an improved coaching staff, improved weapons around him, I think people are very excited for what Cam Ward can do in year 2, historically speaking, when these talented quarterbacks kind of break out.
We knew Tennessee had a lot of money to spend. Did you think they would be as active as they were in free agency, though?
I figured that they would send out some big deals. I will tell you, they gave out a few more than I expected, though. I thought 2 or 3 big-time deals probably made sense. They give Wan'Dale Robinson his big deal at $70 million. They give John Franklin Myers his big deal. Then they go with Alontae Taylor at corner, $20 million. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. But then they follow that up, and they get Cordell Flott in there as well. They spend big at punter and backup quarterback. And, I'm not upset by any means about the routes that they took. I think they were all smart moves and good ways to use the cap space, because at the end of the day, the Titans don't have a lot of good young players that they need to use that cap space on. It's just simply not there from years of bad drafts. So spending a little bit more than even I expected, I still don't think it's a bad thing, because just like we saw with Calvin Ridley and L'Jarius Sneed and Lloyd Cushenberry and these other big-time contracts the Titans signed a couple years ago that didn't work out, did it prevent them from adding free agents this year? No, they had the most or second most cap space in the NFL. So there's not really, because of the bad drafting, there's not really a lot of downside to spending in free agency.
It'll be interesting to see, because clearly the Titans, the most active team in free agency. We can relate to that here in Jacksonville, and more times than not, it did not work out for us with a lot of those free agents. We'll see what happens with the Titans. As far as skill position, obviously you mentioned Wan'Dale Robinson. They get Carnell Tate in the draft. A couple of other pieces as well. Calvin Ridley presumably will be back healthy. I mean, what is the thought on the talent surrounding Cam Ward?
Well, I think there's concern on the offensive line still, because the Titans have gotten a little bit worse on the O-line, in my opinion, and that's inconceivable, but that's where we're at. But the weaponry is significantly better. I mean, Carnell Tate, think what you will of Carnell Tate, but most people had him as the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL draft. And when you draft a guy that high, he needs to come in and make a major impact, and should. And in Brian Dable's scheme, where his isolated wide receiver gets a lot of opportunities, I think Carnell Tate can do that and do that well. And then Wan'Dale Robinson, he's not an elite wide receiver by any means. He's a good slot wide receiver. But compared to what the Titans had last year at wide receiver, they went into last year with Calvin Ridley, Van Jefferson, and the corpse of Tyler Lockett as their starting 3 wide receivers. So, I mean, to have Calvin Ridley as your number 2, Carnell Tate your number 1, a top 5 wide receiver, and then Wan'Dale Robinson in the slot, you still have Chimdike and Alec Ioman are coming off the bench now, who were in starting roles by the end of last year. That's fantastic, in my opinion. Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears, they add Nick Singleton. That's a good running back room. It's not tantalizing or anything, but Tony Pollard's a solid running back with 4 straight years of 1,000 yards. Spears a good change of pace guy. And at tight end, I'm really high on their young tight end, Gunnar Helm. I think he should have got more opportunities last year. And Daniel Bellinger is just your classic average tight end in the NFL, can get the job done. So I think that group doesn't sound like, oh my God, the Titans weapon group. But compared to where they were at this time last year, it's in a far better place for Cam Ward in the offense.
Defensively, you mentioned John Franklin Myers, Alontae Taylor, throw in former Florida State defensive end Jermaine Johnson they got in a trade. They obviously added some pieces. Did they do enough for Robert Saleh to make that defense what he's made defenses in the past?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the defense is going to be pretty fantastic. I mean, they spent big at corner, like we talked about with Alontae Taylor and Cordell Flott to be their outside corners. I think the defensive line is just going to be absolutely incredible. When you have John Franklin Myers and Jeffrey Simmons on the interior, those two guys, Simmons led the NFL amongst interior defensive linemen with 11 sacks. John Franklin Myers was third in the NFL among interior defensive linemen with 7.5 sacks. So, I mean, those two guys terrorizing things. They have the edge group isn't much to write home about. Jermaine Johnson, Femi Oladipo. How much are they going to get out of rookie Keldrick Falk, who needs a lot of development but has a lot of talent? But if you can just use those bigger bodied edge rushers to push, and collapse the pocket and push these quarterbacks into John Franklin Myers and Jeffrey Simmons, who are able to win consistently in one-on-one situations, that's how you're going to get it done. So Robert Saleh's had good to great defenses basically his entire career when his defense is relatively healthy. I think the Titans defense is going to be what carries the team this year.
Final moments, Tyler Rowland, host of the Locked On Titans podcast. Tyler, I mean, we're early in the offseason, but like we said, OTAs, minicamp, training camp is 2 months and change away. I mean, we're getting there. My thought on Tennessee, outside looking in, is they're clearly going to be better, but that's relative because they were really, really bad last year. I mean, are they better to a 7-10 mark, or do you think this is a team that could challenge for a playoff spot?
I would tell you that the win ceiling and floor for the Titans is about, I could see them losing a lot of games and winning only 4 games. If, certain injuries hit, things go bad, the O-line isn't good, there are questions in the secondary. Like, there are certainly ways that this season could go bad and the Titans could win 4 or 5 games and it'd be a disaster, But I also do think that there is the potential that the Titans could pull a Bears or a Jaguars from last year. The coaching staff hits. It really resonates with the guys. They get them playing a lot better than the previous coaching staff. The Titans made a lot of additions in talent, and Cam Ward takes a step forward. I think there's a 10-win team in there somewhere. Now, what's most likely? I think 6 or 7 wins is where I'm at. Now, I want to see the schedule come out on Thursday because how the games are laid out, even though we know the opponents right now, how the games are plotted out can certainly make an impact on whether I think they're going to win and lose, a long road trip, a couple of games, a primetime short week, things like that. You never know. But I think about 6 to 7 wins, doubling last year's win total. I think that would be a great season for the Titans as they try to push this thing back to good.
Would fans be good with that in year 1 for Robert Saleh?
I think it depends on how it looks, of course. But I think, if you just went up to a Titans fan before the season and said they're going to win 6 or 7 games this year, I think they'd say, okay, we're making progress.
We'll certainly see. And I'm curious, I want to end with a thought on Mike Vrabel there in Nashville. But before we get there, AFC South in general, you cover it like we do. You look around every other team. What's a quick thought on your thoughts on Jacksonville, Houston, Indianapolis?
I think Houston's taken back the division crown in a resounding fashion. I think Jacksonville will still be good. I had them winning the division last year, so I'm no Jacksonville hater. I believe in the talent, but I'm not super happy about Jacksonville's all season. I think they kind of got high on their own supply and were maybe a little too conservative, a little too crazy, you know what I mean? And then I just think Indianapolis is going to take a step back. I don't like what they've done committing to Daniel Jones. I think Houston is a sleeping giant in the AFC. I wouldn't be shocked if Houston went to the Super Bowl this year. I think they've added in good spots. They may not be flashy spots, but spots they needed. And if C.J. Stroud can play his rookie year level of quarterback and be more comfortable in the system in year 2, get Tank Dell back, who's big for him in that offense, we know that defense is incredible. I think Houston might be, one of the best 3 or 4 or 5 teams in the entire NFL this year. So I'm expecting Houston to really take the division back and Jacksonville and Indianapolis to kind of maybe take a small step back. Not saying they're going to be bad. Jacksonville might still get the wild card or something, but I don't think they're going to win as many games as they did last year.
Yeah, that seems to be the thought. We'll ultimately see what happens. I can tell you who loves that narrative is Liam Cohen down there with the Jaguars.
Yeah.
So you know how he played that up last year, and he's certainly already starting on it this year. Mike Vrabel, as we wrap up, what's the thought on this whole situation in Nashville? Obviously, a lot of strong feelings about Vrabel in that city.
Well, I think it would have been way worse if he were still the coach of the Titans, because some of these things that are now in question with, him being on the boat and stuff like that, and that's right around the time of the Julio Jones trade, and did Rossini leak certain things to impact the competitive advantage for the Titans in a trade against other teams? Was she putting out false information on his behalf to make the trade for Julio Jones cheaper or dissuade people? Like, there's a can of worms to open there from a competitive standpoint that would immediately turn this from TMZ scandal to NFL investigation, and I think because he's not the coach of the Titans anymore, that's not as big of an issue. That's not something that people are going to want to dive into. But I can tell you, if he was still the coach of the Titans, he most certainly would have been fired or would have had to put on leave or something like that. And that may still happen in New England. But either way, we could say it's a dodged bullet for the Titans because it would have went real bad. But I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh, now Mike Vrabel, this means that the Titans were right to let go of him, and hiring Rand Carthon and Brian Callahan and Chad Brinker and all that crap wasn't a big mistake because now Mike Vrabel's in a scandal. No, the Titans were still dumb for that whole process, and nothing that Mike Vrabel does now is gonna change that. But it would have been uglier if he were still here.
Tyler Rowland is the host of the Locked On Titans podcast. Tyler, appreciate it. We'll do it again later this summer.
Absolutely.
This is
1010XL.
We Are
Sports Radio Jacksonville.
The Jaguars Foundation is hosting an intimate evening of community and conversation at the Sports and Culture Speaker Series. Join us June 2nd and 3rd to hear exclusive perspectives from Jaguars leadership, including Mark Lamping, Tony Vaselli, head coach Liam Cohen, and general manager James Gladstone, as they talk culture, leadership, and building a lasting legacy on and off the field. To be part of the conversation, visit jaguars.com/community/events.
Bueller.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, Jason, thanks for fixing my air conditioner last week. It's way nicer at my place now.
Glad we could help. Good to know it was just a small repair.
I know. A new air conditioner can be pretty expensive.
I mean, they do keep your whole house nice. That's a lot of space to keep cool.
I know.
And they do it all summer long, even when the weather is totally Jacksonville temperature outside.
I know.
Luckily, if you ever do need a new AC, we can arrange a financing plan that'll make it easy for you to handle.
Wait, I didn't know that.
Here, put on these sunglasses.
Whoa. They can show banking information? Cool glasses.
Short term, long term, low interest, zero down payment. There's all kinds of options for bigger projects or even repairs as low as $500.
I wish I had these math sunglasses in high school.
You and me both, pal.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Hi, Frank Frangie here, inviting you to join my wife and me June 22nd of 2027 as we experience the food, wine, and culture of iconic Italy with Colette. Our journey takes us to historic cities and enchanting medieval towns. We'll enjoy a wonderful 7-night stay in the Montecatini Term A famous resort and spa town nestled in the heart of the rolling hills of Tuscany. Visit the cultural treasures of Florence, Pisa, and lovely Lucca. Along the way, we'll discover the food, wine, and old world charm, and even have a special chef-led cooking class. This and so much more. Colette handles the details, flights, hotels, meals, and the local experiences. Your only job is to have the time of your life. Don't miss joining my wife and me in Italy. Now, to learn more, visit 1010XL.com or call Colette at 800-581-8942.
Come away with me.
That's 1010XL.com or call Colette at 800-581-8942.
Checkmate.
I'm Brendan Cecilia from Checkmate Coatings.
And I'm Chester, his adorable chessman sidekick.
There are two things you want to ask when getting a custom polymer garage floor coating. Will it be done right, and will it be priced right?
And just how charming is their mascot?
No. At Checkmate, our small specialized install teams follow a strict 29-point installation checklist
to ensure the highest quality results at a price you can afford.
A Checkmate polyaspartic floor can be customized in dozens of colors and sweeps up sparkling clean in just seconds.
No need to wear your shoes in the garage to avoid tracking dirt back into the house.
The quality you expect?
Check. A price that might surprise you.
Check. A floor you just can't wait to show your friends? Checkmate!
Transforming your floors, making them great. Checkmate.
Visit CheckmateCoatings.com. That's CheckmateCoatings.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
A couple of golden moments this evening. Two stand out. Number one, schedule comes out on Thursday, less than 48 hours from now. We should get some clarity on the international games tomorrow, which means we'll know two of the Jaguars' opponents, the two that won't be in Jacksonville and that will be in London. There are rumors that one of them potentially is the Houston Texans, and if that's the case, that will be unbelievably disappointing, because if there's a game that needs to be played in Jacksonville on that schedule for the home opponents, it would be Houston. Why they would move that game to London, the NFL, I don't know. We'll find out for sure tomorrow. And then Florida State football being announced on Black Friday. And not only Black Friday, but Black Friday afternoon. That's right. The Seminoles and the Gators are going to play Friday, November the 27th at 3:30 in the afternoon. One of the best rivalries in college football's past is just a mere afterthought in college football's present, as it is on Black Friday now, November the 27th at 3:30. Let's talk more college football. What about that potential 24-team college football playoff they're talking about? What about getting rid of Conference Championship Saturday? Is that really a thing? Is that really going to happen? Yeah, it looks like it might. My buddy Brent Beard, you see him on First Coast News. You also get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. He joins me next on a Tuesday night in Northeast Florida. Jacksonville, we're glad you're with us till 10 o'clock. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
That's a fascinating little gadget. It's going to replace CDs soon, so I'll have to buy the White Album again.
What is this? It's a 1010XL.
The past is past, the future's now.
All right, here we go. Jacksonville summer's around the corner, and the heat is bringing the pressure early. Your AC takes the field. It's trying to hold up the weight. Warm air, weak airflow. The system's in trouble. Time to make the call. Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Experienced AC techs, honest pricing, and they'll get it done right the first time. And here's the play right now. Take $500 off the total price of a new AC system during the Memorial Day promotion. That's how you stay cool and win the day. When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
Live streaming from the XL Digital Studios. Brightened by Harbor Dental Care, Jacksonville's first choice for dental emergencies.
Get this. Joey and me were supposed to go to this concert next week, right? But then something terrible happened. Joey was driving without a seatbelt. But he didn't wreck. No, he got pulled over. Now Joey has to pay for a seatbelt ticket instead of a concert ticket, and I have to go by myself. How lame is that? So Joey, if you're out there, you're an idiot. Wear your seatbelt or you'll get a ticket.
All across the country, cops are cracking down. Click it or ticket, day and night.
Funded by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Go to the green every Saturday morning.
Happy learned how to putt.
And get golf tips and talk to help make your golf game more fun on the Edwin Watts Golf Hour. Saturday morning at 10 on 1010XL.
Spend a night in the big 80s. It's the ultimate Bon Jovi tribute. Don Jovi playing all the hits. A high-energy performance that'll blow your mind. Don Jovi. Friday, May 15th at Thrasher Horn Center. Tickets start at just $24. Don't miss Don Jovi live.
Frank Franger here with Coach Delaney from Coil Fencing. You've been building winning teams at Fletcher for years. How does that correlate with installing fences here in Northeast Florida?
Well, Frank, at Coil Fencing, we like to take the coach approach. Implement a game plan and execute it on the field. That's been our winning recipe for 99 years.
And you tackle more than fences, right?
Absolutely. We also service and install automatic gates, perfect for multifamily communities, your business, or residents.
The best defense is a good offense. Visit CoilJacks.com. That's COYLE Jacks.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Boy, there is a lot going on right now in the college football world. We just saw the NCAA basketball tournament expand to 76 teams. Are we on the doorstep of seeing the NCAA college football playoff expand to 24 teams? We'll certainly talk about that. The ACC meetings are underway here locally, as a matter of fact. And obviously, we got to talk about what John Sumrall and the Gators are doing out on the recruiting trail. Let's talk about all of it with my buddy Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News, and you also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Mr. Beard, how are you, sir?
It may be the merry month of May, my friend, but it is amazing the amount of things that are going on right now. And we have just started the yearly meetings. Now, yes, we'll have SEC Media Day in Tampa. Now, it's not in Birmingham and it's not in Atlanta, but it's going to be in Tampa this year, which will be fascinating of its own. But in the meantime, Hag, as you know, in the spring, we have a lot of spring meetings. The ACC has begun, the SEC toward the end of the month, but even above and beyond that, there's still plenty going on, isn't it, my friend?
No, there certainly is. And I want to get to the whole idea of an expanded playoff with you. But while we're on the ACC meetings, Brent, what are the big topics this week with the ACC meetings? What are they trying to get accomplished?
A lot of it has, they're going to review a lot of what is going on with some of the suggestions that have been brought up at this point, such as they will look at the, just based on what you said, then they're going to look at the hoops expansion. They're going to discuss the playoff going to 24 teams is a possibility. Also, now they won't vote on that. That won't actually happen until later on. But at the same time, I think it is significant that they are talking about these things and that are certainly important. They're going to be talking about changes to SCORE, which is an acronym basically that covers a lot of things. Some of the things they're going to be talking about with that, to change SCORE, require coach pay to be funded by athletic revenue, limit coach buyouts to donations. Good luck with that, right, Hank? Mm-hmm. Mandate also the use of public funds for athletics. This is almost humorous here, but I get it. Prevents recruitment of coaches while coaches in the team are in season. That is going on. It's going to task the NCAA to ensure that athletes spend at least one academic year at their school. And look, frankly, I think that has some merit to it, and also reestablish the 5-year ageability situation. Now, we don't have time to get into all this stuff, but some of this stuff is almost ludicrous. Some of it really makes some sense, that they've got to reestablish some boundaries again, that they've really just let go over time. And Hank, I won't go into much detail beyond that because of the time period. But if that gives you a little bit of indication about what is going to be discussed over the next few weeks, not only at media days, but also with some of these NCAA committees going on too.
You see Brent Beard on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. And it's an interesting time for the ACC and the Big 12 because everybody talks about the Big 10 and the SEC as the two power conferences. Well, the ACC and the Big 12 are also in the, quote, Power 4, yet they get very little, say about what's going on. It all really runs through the Big 10 and the SEC, and nothing's ever more prevalent about that, Brent, than this idea of a 24-team playoff. The American Coaches Association did their recommendations earlier last week, and they want a 24-team playoff. Now, there are some aspects of this that I like, some aspects that I do not. Honestly, I'm not very high on 24 teams. What I am high on is getting rid of Championship Saturday and starting the playoff right after the regular season ends. We'll get into all of that in brief detail, but just quickly, a mile-high view. What was your thought about that recommendation last week?
Well, I'm kind of on board with you. I'm lukewarm. I'm not cold against it, but I'm lukewarm on having to go to 24 teams. But I do kind of see how that would work in some ways. Now, what Hank is talking about is the coaches. Now, the coaches committee is really ramping up. And what they would like to do would be to go from the 12 we've got now. A lot of people thought we'd go to 12 to 16 would be logical, but the reality is these coaches really would like to go to 24. So they're doubling what they've got now, which is quite fascinating, to say the least. That will be part of it. The other thing that is huge would be doing away with the championship games. Hank, the SEC championship game by itself brings in this is staggering, between 80 and $100 million in one game. So they want to also end the college football playoff. And I get this by the middle of January, which frankly would be a good move in order to do that. Those are the main things that they really talked about that they want to deal with. And what this means is you would also start the season a week earlier, which would be in August. And I think eventually this would probably do away with week 0 with that too. Now again, there's a lot to digest with this. And it's fascinating, but I'll say this, I'm sure you picked this up. Also, this is the most vocal and the most proactive. We've seen the coaches, Hank, maybe ever?
Yeah, it's been a long time. And obviously, you know why the coaches want to go to 24 for job security.
Job security.
Of course.
Yes.
I mean, that's not rocket science. Here are my thoughts. I want to get yours. As far as Championship Saturday goes, there was a day and time where that game in Atlanta was the biggest thing ever.
Yes.
When it was the West champion against the East champion, and the winner stayed alive for the national title, and the loser was eliminated. That time has come and gone because both of those teams get in the playoff regardless. They might be playing for seeding, but nothing else. It has lost its luster in the SEC, the Big Ten, etc. So I doing away with those, I think, would probably be the right thing to do. I've always said it's ludicrous. My analogy has been you try to explain college football to somebody that doesn't know about college football, and you say, you know what? For 3 months, every Saturday, the pageantry, the rivalries, I mean, it is going to be unbelievable. And then they're going to take a month off, and then they're going to start it over again in the playoff.
Right.
And that person's going to look at you like, huh? It's stupid that they have that long between the end of the regular season and the playoff, even to this day. Start it a week and a half after. My problem with 24, Brent, and I want to get yours, there was also a time where the college football regular season meant something. And if you go to 24 teams, man, 8-4 would get you in the playoff, and I'm not sure if I like that.
Well, look, I'm with you on that because we're going to have some early games that may be either 8-4 or 9-3. Now I can understand 9-3 a whole lot more than I can 8-4 with that too. I do think what's positive would be it's not going to make that much difference. You're playing on week 0 already, and that's August, to start the season in August. I agree that you need to be done by the second week of January. I don't have any problem with that either. I'm totally on board with you about the championship games. I mean, last year in the SEC, for instance, we had Georgia and Alabama. I mean, Georgia won, but frankly, in the grand scheme of things, besides crowning a champion, the game really meant nothing, frankly. Now, another thing they're trying to do, and I'm okay with this, is they're trying to have a specific window for the Army Navy game. And they may have games before it and after it, but they would preserve the game by having a 4-hour window. And I'm okay with that. I think that would be probably fine in order to do so. So some of these things I think are pretty positive. Now, to your point, and it's a very valid point, is you remember last year, Hank, after Georgia won the SEC championship game, Georgia didn't play again until
Yeah.
a month later.
It's ridiculous.
I mean that's ludicrous when you think about it. So the thing they're trying to do is they're trying to ramp up and get the postseason going, basically the week after the SEC championship game would normally be played. And frankly, no, I get you've got academics, you've got things like that. Okay, but these guys are used to dealing with that. But the point again is, use the time you've got. If you want to skip Christmas week, I get that. But Hank, I'm with you with that. We don't need a break between the end of the season and the start of the playoffs, do we? It's a month.
You see Brent Beard on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Brent, we got to go quick, but man, you take a time machine back 10, 15, 20 years ago. When they went from 11 games to 12, all of that was a story. Oh, what are you doing? Adding an extra game to these college athletes. Now they're playing 12. Now, if you're seeded 9 to 24 in this playoff, if it happens, you would have to play 17 games to win the national championship. At an absolute minimum, if you're the number 1 team in the land, you're going to have to play 16 games to win the national championship. Boy, that whole thought about going from 11 to 12 has been obliterated in the last year or two.
Well, it has, and a lot of that obviously is because of the. And look, I like the playoff. We should have started the playoff years ago. If we had, we'd worked it out by now. But there's still some issues to be worked out. And frankly, what you're saying, Hack, is now not everybody will be doing it, but the reality is you do have some teams that'll be in the playoffs that are playing a schedule basically akin. And as long as the NFL, right?
Yeah, there's no doubt. 17 regular season NFL games. You would have to get to 17 to win the national championship if you were seeded 9 to 24 in the college football playoff. Brent, what are the odds of this recommendation seeing the light of day? I mean, it seems to be picking up some steam for 24 teams.
It is. I think that's probably going to happen. The reality of this is every conference is for this except the SEC. And Greg Sankey is kind of stuck his heels in the cement, and he wants to have particularly the SEC title game. But look, Hank, at some point, when everybody else is for something and you're against it, for the good of the game, you've got to make some kind of compromise. I'm really, frankly, with you. I think they need to go to 16 and stay there for a while and really rethink the 24 thing instead of jumping the ditch to do that. But look, the thing that you said and how much, influence they have will be interesting to see. The coaches want 24 because they think that will be job security for them.
Let's wrap up with this. A guy that doesn't need job security, at least right now, is John Summerall. He just arrived in Gainesville, and he's doing everything right. Look, I understand it's May, and I understand these are just verbal commitments, and the signatures don't come until at least December. but I can't remember the last time on the 247.com football recruiting rankings, Brent, that Florida was top 5. They are right now, and Summerall's been on the job for 4.5 months. They've got 3 offensive linemen that are ranked among the top 150 players in America. Florida hasn't done that in 20 years. What is John Summerall doing that's working so well on the recruiting trail?
Well, I think he is brutally honest with these guys, but that also attracts some guys to come to your program. Andrew Beard, no relation now, 4-star 27 running back, is one of the more recent ones, 5'9", 197. He's from Bogart, Georgia, which tells you a lot about that one. They got him away from Georgia. But I mean, heck, he is doing and saying the right things to these recruits. He's proving himself so far. The thing to me that he has done that, and you would understand as well as anybody I know, what he's really trying to do is, look, that they're going to get skill position players, but his main goal, I think, right now, he knows this. He's got to rebuild that line of scrimmage, right? And they have got at least 3 of the top 100 recruits who are linemen. So and I appreciate this greatly about him. Now, look, that's not sexy. It's not what people jump up and down about. But Hank, you understand this team as well as anybody I know too, is if you can't block and you can't tackle, you're going to struggle with the rest of it, and he's trying to prevent that from happening.
Not only did they get those 3 linemen, Brent, they got them from Pennsylvania, Texas, and Virginia.
Yeah, that's right.
They've gone all over the place to get him. And by the way, Maxwell Hiller, 5-star, maybe the number 1 interior O-lineman in America. Peyton Miller in the conversation for the number 1 center in America. And the most recent one, Elijah Hutchinson from Virginia, he's a top 10 offensive tackle in America, according to these recruiting rankings. So you're right, Summerall and Phil Troutwine, let's obviously not forget him, doing terrific work on the recruiting trail. Brent Beard always does terrific work with us here on Hacker After Dark. You also see him on First Coast News. Brent, appreciate it. We will take the next couple of weeks off. We'll see what happens. I'm going on a little bit of a vacation soon, a little bit of downtime, but we'll get back together very soon, my friend. And by that point, preseason magazines should be hitting the newsstands.
Yeah. You look for them around 21st, 22nd, 23rd, something like that. And Hank, the other reality, when you get back, the SEC spring meetings are going to be going on. And my, oh my, would you like to be a fly on the wall in those meetings coming up?
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. Brent, I appreciate you as always, pal. We'll talk soon.
Okay, brother. Take care.
And thank you to my buddy Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. That was certainly a big topic of conversation and continues to be a big topic of conversation, the whole idea of a 24-team playoff. Remember when it was a big deal when they went to 4 teams, right? And then they went to 12, which we're at right now. And if they really do go to 24, and again, the idea would be to get rid of the conference championship games, which I tend to agree with. I think their day has come and gone. I do like the fact that you would move the playoff up to where it starts basically after the regular season ends. I've always thought it was complete and total nonsense to have to wait 2, 3, or even 4 weeks to have postseason play in college football, because the powers that be that recommended this last week want the season to be over in the second week of January. So there are certainly some pros to it. There are also some cons to it as well. Again, 24 teams, I think, is probably a little excessive. At that point, you're talking about 8-4 gets you into the college football playoff. Should 8-4 get you in to a college football playoff? I don't know. To win a national championship, even if you're the number 1 team in America, you'd have to play minimum 16 games. Remember when it was such a big deal when they went from 11 to 12 in college football time has certainly changed, but it was certainly an interesting conversation with my buddy Brent Beard. We also did a deep dive on the AFC South. We started tonight in Nashville. We will make stops later in the week with Indianapolis and Houston, but thought it was time with free agency mostly in the rearview mirror, the draft in the rearview mirror, OTAs on the horizon, to check in on the AFC South rivals. So we will do that this week here on Hacker After Dark, and obviously that includes talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Rookie minicamp done, OTAs on the doorstep, and we certainly spent some time talking tonight about the Jaguar roster. Well, that will just about do it, man. Very, very busy Tuesday evening here on Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM, and we do have a ton of people to thank. Again, my buddy Brent Beard, you see him locally on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Thank you to Tyler Rowland. He is the host of the Locked On Titans podcast. He's certainly one of our guys when it comes to the Tennessee Titans as we started our tour of the AFC South this week. And we certainly appreciate Tyler taking time out for us this evening to talk about what has been a very eventful offseason up there in Nashville for the Titans. I think they brought in like upwards of 20 free agents, new head coach, new staff, certainly a lot of changes for Tennessee. And also back in hour number one, Travis Holmes of Big Cat Country and the Duval Dive podcast. Always enjoy the conversation with Travis, reviewing Jaguar rookie minicamp and looking ahead to OTAs in about a week and a half's time. Now, we will be back tomorrow night on a Wednesday, and we will do it all over again beginning at 8 o'clock. Aaron Williams was your producer tonight. Aaron, great job as always. I'm the hacker, Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Tuesday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark, on 1010XL, and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Tuesday evening, and we will talk to you again tomorrow night on a Wednesday beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then, good night, Jack.